that I wanted to. We still have a couple more things to go through here, folks. So we got a big chat that we're going to talk about regarding some customer service training. Well, at least a medium chat. Let's call it that. Excuse me.
There's one more article, though.
Is there?
Yeah, the Detroit fire guys.
Well, so that's not so much an article as it is something that I want to talk about. Is this a training issue? So here's the article.
Sorry.
The article.
Okay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. You're absolutely right. There's another article, but it's not. This is a can training fix it situation, and this is also hot off the press. This is a January 2nd article, and that's today. So the Detroit firefighters may face discipline after posing in front of burning house. I think I read that properly. After posing in front of burning house. Yeah, so it sounded awkward, but that's because it's a headline from the Metro Times, Detroit Metro. It got so bad at Devil's Night, they had to rebrand it Angel's Night, and then they had troops of people walking around to try and prevent things from getting burned to the ground.
And, people around the country, so Gibbs, have you ever heard of Devil's Night?
Mm-mm.
You haven't heard of Devil's Night?
No, it's a Midwest Detroit thing.
Yeah.
And so
that's weird.
I'm not a Midwesterner.
So here's what Devil's Night is, basically. The night before Halloween, Detroit burns shit. Their houses, they run around and burn houses to the ground. This is Devil's Night.
Like a riot?
No, they just burn houses like arsonists. So there's so many vacant houses across Detroit. And it's been going around like since the 70s, and they just burn houses. So, it really doesn't happen as much today, but when I was a kid, Devil's Night, and people would go out, you'd egg houses, things like that. That's what we did as kids. But
just
in the city, they would burn houses. The whole city would, as a kid, Devil's Night, and people would go out, you'd egg houses, things like that. That's what we did as kids. But in the city, they would burn houses. The whole city would burn, and it was called Devil's Night.
That's crazy.
Now, just a quick note here. Adam, you are a Sparty, is that true?
I am.
And they're not entirely innocent from burning things, historically speaking. So I don't know if you're qualified to talk on this story. That's all I'm saying.
I went through several riots when I was at Michigan State. When I was there, actually,
go blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So no, I did. I was, I don't want to say part of, but I was through a couple riots out through Cedar Village, and also Gunson riot. And what I learned out of that entire thing, and this is actually very important for people, if there's tear gas, you do not go in the basement.
Oh, that's good. That's a helpful tip.
So, if you
that's
run
a Mosby learning tip. I love it.
Because there's no air vents?
No, and tear gas actually goes down, right? So it kind of stays low to the ground. Oh. And so we all ran in, and all the houses in Michigan, they have basements. And so we were out on the streets in Cedar Village. Cedar Village is a kind of a dumpy apartment complex where all the college kids live, and that's where some of the fires were going on. And then we're out there kind of partying, drinking, and doing all of that. And then the cops shot tear gas. And so we ran into one of the houses because we were out on the front lawn. We ran into one of the houses that was next to the apartments, and they all had basements. And so all the tear gas came down, and so
good Lord.
So if you're ever doing anything like that, but yes, I did, and was around for several of the riots when they first began. There was 3, I believe, when I was there. Definitely 2. I believe there was a 3rd.
It's a little hazy.
My whole 6-year career was too. Yes.
So okay, I'm bringing this up because it's obviously it's an interesting article. There's a bunch of maybe 15 guys, something like that, a bunch of firefighters, and we're posing in front of a house that's burning down in Detroit, and it's not too far away from a house. It's about 10 feet away from another house that's right beside it that's not yet burning down. And it seems like some people thought this was in bad taste. Now,
the picture is ridiculous. You need to post a picture on the show notes on this one. In fact, we should just change the logo of the podcast to that for this picture. Is just classic. Probably not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea. No, this photo was posted on Facebook and later taken down after firefighters discovered they may be in trouble. More than 15 firefighters were photographed posing in front of a vacant house with flames burning through the roof, dangerously close to another vacant house. The picture was posted on the Facebook page of Detroit Fire Incidents page, which is run by civilians. Below the caption, "Crews take a moment to get a selfie on New Year's Eve." So this is let me ask you. So first off, as we always do, is this a training problem?
But before we answer that, the story gets a little bit better. You didn't read the next paragraph there. It must be somebody's retirement also, because the Detroit Fire Commissioner was not amused. And he says, there are a lot of ways to celebrate a retirement. Taking a photo in front of a building fire is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Detroit Fire Commissioner Eric Jones.
Was not amused. And he says, there are a lot of ways to celebrate a retirement. Taking a photo in front of a building fire is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Detroit Fire Commissioner Eric Jones.
That is the way to go out. I got to tell you, when I retire, I just want to stand in front of a burning building. I'm out. He's out. So you've got pretty much the full picture now, ladies and gentlemen. And do we think this is a problem that needs to be solved? Let me ask you that. Yes.
Okay, so we think it's a problem that should be solved. People shouldn't be taking selfies in front of burning buildings. Now, there's a lot of things that we don't know. Maybe the other building was scheduled to be burnt down. I don't know. Maybe the other building is already been like hosed down, and this is just a controlled burn, because sometimes you got to do that. You know, sometimes you can't save it. Sometimes what's there is not worth saving. And I don't mean to bag on Detroit, but I mean, there's some stuff there that it looks like it's already burned down. So if it's burning down, just get out of the way and let it fall, you know? But
so
assuming.
I thought, because for a second I thought, a lot of what firefighters do for training is they set old houses on fire and then they work on putting them out, and that's part of their training, and then demolishing it. Where I live, down actually on a main road where I live, that I drive down every day, there used to be this house there, right? And it was abandoned, etc. Well, the firemen came in, set the house on fire, and completely demolished it and used it as a training situation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so it was kind of cool, because you were driving by and you were watching them train and practice doing it, etc., and putting it out.
They probably didn't do it at the stroke of midnight, though, on New Year's Eve.
Watching them train and practice doing it, etc., and putting it out.
They probably didn't do it at the stroke of midnight, though, on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and so when I first saw it, I was like, oh, maybe they're doing a training thing. So...
Well, I guess we don't know that they weren't. It doesn't seem as though at least the fire commissioner didn't think they were. He doesn't say explicitly this is not a training thing, but he doesn't say otherwise either.
I don't think it was, but when I saw the picture, I thought
that's what it reminded me of.
Before even starting to read the article, I was like, oh, maybe it was a training thing, because our podcast is about training.
There's it is. Speaking of, so kind of on a related note, I'm listening to an interview with on the Joe Rogan podcast, a guy named Forrest Galante, who's what is he? He is some sort of wildlife that he's with, but he's steeped in wildlife, and people have actually approached him and say, hey man, stop taking so many pictures with wildlife because other people are doing it too. And you know how there's always a bunch of idiots that take a picture in front of a bear and then they die because they tried to take a picture in front of a bear and it killed them. It's just one of those things where, okay, maybe these guys know what they're doing and it's not a big deal, but it's out of context, so it doesn't look great. And if other people did it, it would be bad form. And I don't know, maybe it is something that they shouldn't have done. But I guess if it's something they shouldn't have done, is this something that should come up in training, or is this just an obvious thing, we think?
I'm going to go with it's an obvious thing.
It's an obvious thing. All right, so it's not a training issue.
It's not a training issue, because even taking the picture is in poor taste. Even if it was a training, I think it's in poor taste because of the... they are, quote, pillars of the community, right? They're telling people what to do and stopping.
Who said that? Who said that?
Firefighters, right? They're looked upon. They're
No. We want to look at athletes and musicians.
Oh,
Those are the pillars.
Definitely athletes.
Yeah.
Yes. Love
And
athletes.
actors.
Yes.
Actors.
Actors too.
Yeah.
But Instagram models, that whole thing. But I think at the end of the day, even posting, they're not showing what people should do. So they shouldn't be posting it, even if it was a training thing, which it wasn't at New Year's Eve. But they shouldn't be posting that, because if there is a fire, they should be trying to actively put it out. They're not, because then all you have is people going on YouTube and going, the house next to me is burning. Check this out. And then they're posting videos of that.
I tell you what, a world before Facebook, this isn't a problem. So maybe Facebook's the problem. I don't know. Okay. Well, we've established that job aid is not going to solve this problem. Thank you very much for entertaining that issue. And again, this you'll find this link at mosby.ca/017. And again, this you'll find this link at mosby.ca/017.